Good evening, great
Good
souls.
evening. Welcome to our celebration of Master's birthday with a kirtan and some stories and readings and a special slideshow that we'll offer a little later on. Let's begin with a prayer now together. Divine Mother, Heavenly Father, beloved friend God, great masters of self-realization, Jesus Christ, Babaji Krishna, Lahiri Mahashaya, Swami Sri Yukteswarji, beloved Guru Deva, Paramhansa Yogananda ji, all saints and sages, with love and devotion we bow at thy feet. Beloved Master, you are the light of our lives, and this year, guide us, inspire us, bless our attunement, flow through us intuitively in our activity, in our service, in our meditation. May we realize thee. Make us one with thee. Om. Peace. Amen.
Amen.
This evening we will chant together and share a number of stories from Yogananda's Autobiography of a Yogi. And I'll just expound on a few of those as the time comes. Excuse me for a second here. I just have to get something out of my throat. Thank you. It's great to have a mute button sometimes. So as with Kirtan in general, it's helpful to have little pauses in between. It's nice to think of each chant as kind of like a yoga posture or a meditation technique, or even, some kind of exercise or some part of your day. I was reflecting that there's a sort of well-studied principle that relates to, quote, multitasking. And one of the things that they describe in those studies is that it's not easy for us to shift our attention from one thing to another and back again. There's this kind of automatic delay and lots of opportunities for distraction in there. But if we use that moment, that pause in between two activities, it's one of the reasons we celebrate the solstices and the equinoxes, is that the earth itself is kind of, in the context of our lives, is giving us one of those moments. And in a sense, we're still in the broader period of the solstice now. But take those little in-between moments of the chant. We've experienced one kind of energy. Now there's a pause where we assimilate. We have a lovely meal in the best restaurant in the world, or the best home in the world, a feast of Christmas or another holiday. And, we don't leap out of the chair and go run a marathon or something, or it's like the idea of it is that we take a moment and we kind of enjoy that sense of satisfaction and internalize the experience that we've had. And so let's do that in these little pauses that will come between the chants. And later on, as I said, we'll share some stories and some inspiration, as well as beautiful images of Master for us to tune into his consciousness. So let's chant together, and we'll begin now with Door of my heart, open wide I keep for thee. Let's sing, O God beautiful, at thy feet, O I do bow. The first verse focuses on God in nature, and the second verse focuses on God in our lives and in our human experience.
serviceful thou art.
listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. I will never forget thee, I will never forsake thee.
Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. I will never forget thee, I will never forsake thee. I will never forget thee, I will never forsake thee. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. I will never forget thee, I will never forsake thee. I will never forget thee, I will never forsake thee. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. Never forget thee, I will never forsake thee. I will never forget thee, I will never forsake thee. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. I will never forget thee, I will never forsake thee. I will never forget thee, I will never. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. I will never forget thee, I will never forsake thee. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. Listen, listen, listen. I will never forget thee, I will never forsake thee. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. I will never forget thee, I will never forsake thee. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. I will never forget thee, I will never forsake thee. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. I will never forget thee, I will never forsake thee. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. Listen, listen, listen. I will never forget thee, I will never forsake thee. I will never forget thee, I will never forsake thee. I will never forget thee, I will never forsake thee. I will never forget thee, never forsake thee. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song.
Let's meditate for a few minutes. as we come out of meditation now, I'm going to read a passage from Autobiography of a Yogi. And this is from the chapter The Perfume Saint, and so this is the beginning of the story before Master meets the perfume saint. And he's talking about the sadhu that he met at the Dakshineshwar temple. And so I'll just share some of the thoughts that came in that encounter. God is simple. Everything else is complex. This is that sadhu speaking. Do not seek absolute values in the relative world of nature. And so then they have this conversation back and forth, and Master was very much enjoying this exchange of ideas and thoughts with the sadhu. And then the sadhu continues by saying, man can understand no eternal verity until he has freed himself from pretensions. The human mind, bared to a centuried slime, is teeming with repulsive life of countless world delusions. Struggles of the battlefield pale into insignificance here when man first contends with inward enemies. No mortal foes these, to be overcome by harrowing array of might. Omnipresent, unresting, pursuing man even in sleep, subtly equipped with a miasmic weapon, these soldiers of ignorant lusts seek to slay us all. Thoughtless is the man who buries his ideals, surrendering to the common fate. Can he seem other than impotent, wooden, ignominious? Respected, this is Master's responding now to this, because the man was obviously getting into this thought pretty deeply. Respected sir, have you no sympathy for the bewildered masses? The sage was silent for a moment, then answered obliquely. To love both the invisible God, repository of all virtues, and visible man, apparently possessed of none, is often baffling. But ingenuity is equal to the maze. Inner research soon exposes a unity in all human minds, the stalwart kinship of selfish motive. In one sense, at least, the brotherhood of man stands revealed. So I'm seeing that people are finding that we're off sync here. Is that what the messages are saying there? So I'm going to do...
No message.
What is it saying?
No message.
Okay. I'm not
Just go ahead.
I'm not sure I can fix it. Sorry guys, I know it's goofy, but...
The stalwart kinship of selfish motive.
In one sense at least, the brotherhood of man stands revealed. An aghast humility follows this leveling discovery. It ripens into compassion for one's fellows, blind to the healing potencies of the soul awaiting exploration. Master responds, the saints of every age, sir, have felt like yourself for the sorrows of the world. The sadhu says, Only the shallow man loses responsiveness to the woes of others' lives as he sinks into narrow suffering of his own. The sadhu's austere face was noticeably softened. The one who practices a scalpel self-dissection will know an expansion of universal pity. Release is given him from the deafening demands of his ego. The love of God flowers in such a soul. The creature finally turns to his Creator, if for no other reason than to ask in anguish, "Why, Lord, why?" By ignoble whips of pain, man is driven at last into the infinite presence, whose beauty alone should lure him. And the sadhu continues and concludes this part. Bricks and mortar sing us no audible tune. The heart opens only to the human chant of being. I appreciate this reading very much for a number of reasons, but one of them is that the sadhu is talking about how to love God sort of impersonally in an abstract way is challenging. And yet, if we learn to love in the human dimension, we can also learn to love God in the abstract. And Swamiji himself brought this out. And in fact, I'll just digress for a moment, because that thought of learning to love God in connection with learning to love others is expressed in his play, The Peace Treaty. And in that play, there's this love scene, or actually the preamble to a love scene, in which one of the characters is asking a sadhu, a saint, for advice about should I get into a relationship? And because I'm afraid of losing my devotion to God if I focus on another person. And the hermit, the sadhu, responds in the play that to learn to love another, but to see that love as a window onto the divine, is a good path to follow and an honorable path to follow. And it's almost word for word the thought that this sadhu is expressing about learning to see the universality of the need for compassion and a broad understanding, but to love God in all of these people who are struggling in the same ways that we are. And anyway, it's just a beautiful image and thought. So we'll show now this lovely slideshow of Master, and I want us to focus on his eyes and focus on the feeling that is created in looking at him and understanding what did he bring to us. When we celebrate someone's birthday, we want to bring a gift. We're celebrating their arrival in our lives. You know, the day that someone is born, you know, everyone is celebrating. There's great joy. Someone has joined us. And so there's this sense of a new family member, a new friend, a new someone is in the world. And then every year, you know, on that day, we celebrate the anniversary of that birth. And we celebrate with a gift. Well, what can you give? You know how everyone says, what are you going to give your dad? You know, your dads are impossible. You know, guys have everything, you know, of a certain stature. You know, so people, you know, they give dad a tie or they give dad a cup, or, you know, dads are not into little tchotchkes, little, little gizmos or little objects or whatever. But what do you give to someone who really has everything? Like who has the entire universe? An avatar. What can you give an avatar? You can give your love. That's the one thing that the avatar does not have. We have to choose that. So as we see these images of Master, offer your own devotion. This is a time when we would typically be doing a flower ceremony, offering to the Guru. And so feel as we see these images of Master, offer the flowers of your own devotion into that experience. And you can close your eyes sometimes, but try to feel his blessings coming to you with each new image, with each slide.
And it's Swami Kriyananda's voice.
And this will be Swamiji describing. And many thanks to Surya Das for helping put this together at the last minute. We asked him, basically the last few hours anyway. I think it took quite a while, but we were not able to get back to the original order of the slides, I don't think. And so you may not see it exactly that way, but just feel his blessing in your heart.
Mankind, offspring of God, lives a stranger in this world, though through how many eons of seeking he strive to make matter his home. Into the grey twilight of materialism there shines from time to time a brilliant ray of divine light, penetrating the mist of man's delusions. As the Bhagavad Gita declares, whenever virtue declines and evil is on the rise, I, the Spirit, incarnate myself on earth to restore virtue and to drive out sin. One such divine ray was the great master of yoga, Paramhansa Yogananda. Yogananda was the author of the spiritual classic Autobiography of a Yogi, one of the best-known
So, sorry guys, we're going to work on this for a moment, try to get the music. Technical trouble here, guys. Sorry. So, if you all will give a comment in the, we're going to start the slideshow again with us chanting in the background. Let us know if you can hear it. I don't know if you'll be able to or not. We're just having trouble with the audio right now, and something's not working right. So anyway, I'm going to start the slideshow again.
Mankind, offspring of God, lives a stranger in this world, though through how many eons of seeking he strives to make matter his home. Into the grey twilight of materialism there shines from time to time a brilliant ray of divine light, penetrating the mist of man's delusions. As the Bhagavad Gita declares, whenever virtue declines and evil is on the rise, I, the Spirit, incarnate myself on earth to restore virtue and to drive out sin. One such divine ray was the great master of yoga, Paramhansa Yogananda. Yogananda was the author of the spiritual classic Autobiography of a Yogi, one of the best-known spiritual works of this age. He was also the founder of Self-Realization Fellowship, a worldwide organization with its headquarters in Los Angeles, California. First coming to America in 1920, he lived 32 years in this country, the first great yogi to make his home in the West. During his lifetime, he was the teacher of thousands. What is this divine ray that he represents? If one were to define something so essentially beyond definition, he would have to begin with love. Selfless, divine love. Next would come compassion. In my book, The Path, I wrote, Devi Mukherjee, a young monk from India, told me of an example he had seen of the universality of Master's love. Master had invited him out for a drive one afternoon. They were on their way home near sundown. "Stop the car," Master cried suddenly. He got out and walked back several doors to a small, rather shoddy-looking variety shop. There, to Debbie's astonishment, he selected a number of items, none of them useful. "What on earth can he want with all that junk?" Debbie marveled. At the front counter, the owner, an elderly woman, added up the price. When Master paid it, she burst into tears. "I very badly needed just this sum of money today," she cried. "It's near closing time, and I'd almost given up hope of getting it. Bless you, sir. God himself must have sent you to me in my hour of need." Master's quiet smile alone betrayed his knowledge of her difficulty. He offered no word of explanation. The purchases, as Debbie had suspected, served no practical purpose thereafter. The next quality to discern in Yogananda's ray would be joy. As I wrote in The Path about Master's chief woman disciple, Sister Gyanamata, she attained God through wisdom. My path has been through joy. Devotion would be another quality. Let me continue to quote from The Path. A certain visitor once requested a private interview with Master. On the appointed day he arrived armed with a long list of what he considered to be profound intellectual questions. "Love God," Master said in answer to the first of them. The man paused a moment, uncomprehendingly, then shrugged his shoulders and posed his second question. "Love God," Master persisted. Nonplussed, the visitor proceeded to the third profound item on his list. "Love God," came Master's reply once more, this time sternly. Without another word, he rose, concluding the interview, and left the room. The Master was saying that until the visitor developed love, the doors of true wisdom would remain closed to him. Power. Again I quote, "I remember especially how stirred I was by a talk he gave at a garden party in Beverly Hills on July 31st, 1949. Never had I imagined that the power of human speech could be so great. It was the most stirring lecture I have ever heard. This day, he thundered, punctuating every word, marks the birth of a new era. My spoken words are registered in the ether, in the Spirit of God, and they shall move the West. Self-realization has come to unite all religions. We must go on, not only those who are here, but thousands of youths must go north, south, east, and west to cover the earth with little colonies, demonstrating that simplicity of living plus high thinking lead to the greatest happiness. Deeply I vowed that day to do my utmost to make his words a reality. This is the picture that was taken on that occasion as he chanted Om at the end of his speech, to register his vibrations, as he put it, in the ether, in the Spirit of God. Another quality of the ray is dispassion. It was the summer of 1950. For months I had been looking forward eagerly to a trip to India. Master was planning to go, and had asked me to go with him. But he kept saying he would be leaving only if and when God gave him the definite guidance to go. All I heard in his statement, attached as I was to the idea of going, was the when of it, not the if. In July, finally, he announced that it was God's will that we not make the journey that year. "Will we be going another time, Master?" I asked. "That is in God's hands," he replied, indifferently. "I am not inquisitive about these things. What he wants, I do." Not inquisitive? About a trip to India? Mentally, I tightened my belt of expectations, telling myself that it was all the same to me, too. I wasn't completely successful, I'm afraid. Another quality of his ray is wisdom. One day, I was sitting in Master's dictation room, waiting while he worked on a few pages of his new manuscript. While he wrote, his whole mind gravely focused on the task at hand, I gazed at him and thought gratefully how wonderful it was to be his disciple. When he finished his work, he asked me to help him to his feet. Rising, he held my hands for a moment and gazed with joy into my eyes. "Just a bulge of the ocean," he said softly. He saw himself ever as only a part of the infinite whole. Cosmic consciousness. One of the most inspiring poems in mystical literature is Master's poem, Samadhi. The poem ends with these soul-expanding words, "Gone forever, fitful, flickering shadows of mortal memory. Spotless is my mental sky, below, ahead, and high above. Eternity and I, one united ray, a tiny bubble of laughter, I am become the sea of mirth itself." Another quality of that ray is energy. Again from the path. Louise Royston, an elderly disciple who first met him during his early years in America, described him to me as a man so alive with divine joy that he sometimes actually came running out onto the lecture platform, his long hair streaming out behind him, his orange robe flapping about his body as if with kindred enthusiasm. "How is everybody?" he would cry. "Awake and ready," came the eager response in which he led them. "How feels everybody?" Again the shout, "Awake and ready." Only in such a charged atmosphere was he willing to talk about God, whom he described as the most dynamic, joy-inspiring reality in the universe. Paramhansa Yogananda was a shining star in a global family of spiritual souls, the lineage of which spans many centuries. To such mighty families, I wrote in the Path, is given the real task of guiding the human race, not in the way governments do by ordinances, but by subtler, spiritual influence. An essence of the ray Yogananda represented is the protection it affords those who seek guidance from it. "Sir," I said to Master one day, "after you are gone, will you be as near to us as you are now?" "To those who think me near," he replied, "I will be near." Master used to tell us, all of Krishna's soldiers were like Krishna. Those who embrace the ray that he came to bring into this world take on its qualities in their own lives. Above all, the essence of what that ray has to offer mankind is God consciousness. Millions, Master used to say, will find God through this work. The Shankaracharya of Kanchipuram, the spiritual leader of hundreds of thousands of Indians, said to me, as a bright light shining in the midst of darkness, so is Yogananda's presence in this world. Such a great soul comes on earth only rarely, when there is a real need among men. Let us listen to Yogananda's own voice as he recites his beautiful prayer at dawn.
With the opening of the earliest dawn and the lotus buds, my soul softly opens in prayer to receive thy light. Bathe each petal of my mind with thy radiant rays. I saturate myself with the perfume of thy presence, and I wait to waft with the breeze the aroma of thy message of love to all. Bless me, that with a spreading dawn I may spread thy love everywhere. Bless me, that with the awakening dawn I may awaken all souls with my own and bring them to thee.
So we'll chant Om Guru now and focus on Master's blessings, and then after that have a short meditation. meditate for a few moments. So I'll share a reading now, and apologies that my mouth and the video are not synced up together. And I'm wearing my glasses, okay. So,
I'll just focus on Master so you don't have to be synced.
okay. So I'm going to read a little bit longer story here. This is not specifically connected with Master's birth, but it is in a very real sense just a helpful, to me, a very encouraging view of the role of a master in our lives is not just a spiritual one kind of in the abstract, but it's also very practical. So this is related to Master's sister Nalini and the relationship that they had. And so Master says, soon after my brother Ananta's passing, my younger sister Nalini was brought back from death's door by a divine healing. Before relating the story, I will refer to a few phases of her earlier life. The childhood relationship between Nalini and myself had not been of the happiest nature. I was very thin, she was thinner still. Through an unconscious motive or, quote, complex, which psychiatrists will have no difficulty in identifying, I often used to tease my sister about her cadaverous appearance. Her retorts were equally permeated with the callous frankness of extreme youth. Sometimes Mother intervened, ending the childish quarrels temporarily by a gentle box on my ear as the elder ear. Time passed. Nalini was betrothed to a young Calcutta physician, Panchanan Bose. He received a generous dowry from father, presumably, as I remarked to sister, to compensate the bridegroom-to-be for his fate in allying himself with a human beanpole. Elaborate marriage rites were celebrated in due time. And then he describes the wedding a little bit. But later, I visited the Bose home. My errand there took only a few minutes. I was leaving, unnoticed, I thought, by Nalini. As I reached the front door, I heard her voice, cordial, but commanding. "Brother, come here. You are not going to give me the slip this time. I want to talk to you." I mounted the stairs to her room. To my surprise, she was in tears. "Dear brother," she said, "let us bury the old hatchet. I see that your feet are now firmly set on the spiritual path. I want to become like you in every way." She added hopefully, "You are now robust in appearance. Can you help me? My husband still does not come near to me, and I love him so dearly. But more still, I want to progress in God realization, even if I must remain thin and unattractive." My heart was deeply touched at her plea. Our new friendship steadily progressed. One day she asked to become my disciple. She said, "Train me in any way you like." I put my trust in God instead of tonics. She gathered together an armful of medicines and poured them down the drain. As a test of her faith, I asked her to omit from her diet all meat, fish, and eggs. After several months during which Nalini had strictly followed the various rules I had outlined, and had adhered to her vegetarian diet in spite of numerous difficulties, I paid her a visit. "Sis, you have been conscientiously observing the spiritual injunctions. Your reward is near." I smiled mischievously. "How plump do you want to be? As fat as our aunt who hasn't seen her feet in years?" "No, but I long to be as stout as you are." I replied solemnly, "By the grace of God, as I have spoken truth always, I speak truly now." And there's a little footnote that I'll add here. The Hindu scriptures declare that those who habitually speak the truth will develop the power of materializing their words. What commands they utter from the heart will come true in life. Through divine blessings, your body, this is back to Master speaking, through divine blessings, your body shall verily change from today. In 1 month it shall have the same weight as mine. These words from my heart found fulfillment. In 30 days, Nalini's weight equaled mine. The new roundness gave her beauty. Her husband fell deeply in love. Their marriage, begun so inauspiciously, turned out to be ideally happy. On my return from Japan, I learned that during my absence, Nalini had been stricken with typhoid fever. I rushed to her home. I was aghast to find her reduced to a mere skeleton. She was in a coma. Before her mind became confused by illness, my brother-in-law told me, she often said, "If Brother Mukunda were here, I would not be faring thus." He added despairingly, "The other doctors and myself see no hope. Blood dysentery has set in after her long bout with typhoid." I began to move heaven and earth with my prayers. Engaging an Anglo-Indian nurse who gave me full cooperation, I applied to my sister various yoga techniques of healing. The blood dysentery disappeared. But Dr. Bose shook his head mournfully. "She simply has no more blood left to shed." "She will recover," I replied stoutly. "In 7 days her fever will be gone." A week later I was thrilled to see Nalini open her eyes and gaze at me with loving recognition. From that day her recovery was swift. Although she regained her usual weight, she bore one sad scar of her nearly fatal illness. Her legs were paralyzed. Indian and English specialists pronounced her a hopeless cripple. The incessant war for her life, which I had waged by prayer, had exhausted me. I went to Serampore to ask Sri Yukteswar's help. His eyes expressed deep sympathy as I told him of Nalini's plight. "Your sister's legs will be normal at the end of 1 month." He added, "Let her wear next to her skin a band with an unperforated 2-carat pearl held on by a clasp." I prostrated it myself at his feet with joyful relief. "Sir, you are a master. Your word of her recovery is enough." But if you insist, I will immediately get her a pearl. My guru added, yes, do that. He went on to correctly describe the physical and mental characteristics of Nalini, whom he had never seen. Sir, I inquired, is this an astrological analysis? You do not know her birthday or hour. Sri Yukteswar smiled. There is a deeper astrology, not dependent on the testimony of calendars and clocks. Each man is a part of the Creator or cosmic man. He has a heavenly body as well as one of earth. The human eye sees the physical form, but the inward eye penetrates more profoundly, even to the universal pattern of which each man is an integral and individual part. I returned to Calcutta and purchased a pearl for Nalini. A month later, her paralyzed legs were completely healed. Sister asked me to convey her heartfelt gratitude to my guru. He listened to her message in silence. But as I was taking my leave, he made a pregnant comment. Your sister has been told by many doctors that she can never bear children. Assure her that in a few years she will give birth to 2 daughters. Some years later, to Nalini's joy, she bore a girl, followed in a few years by another daughter. Your master has blessed our home, our entire family, my sister said. The presence of such a man is a sanctification on the whole of India. Dear brother, please tell Sri Yukteswarji that through you, I humbly count myself as one of his Kriya Yoga disciples. And I'll just add that we don't necessarily think of the texture of a master's life as containing all this human drama. You know, think of the dramas that we've all been living in the last year or two. Who's vaccinated? Who's not vaccinated? Whose family, is dealing with this political issue or that political issue. And here's Master growing up with, he's too skinny and she's even skinnier yet. And, them tormenting each other and then finally deciding as grown-ups or youth, young adults anyway, that they wanted to have a different kind of relationship. And his compassion and dedication and devotion to her, to pray that sincerely and that deeply for her healing. And then when he was exhausted after she recovered partially, but not, the paralysis was not recovered, him going to Sri Yukteswar and Sri Yukteswar helping in his way. It's just very sweet and very moving and touching. It brings me to tears just reading it now. And I don't know, I loved the chapter when I read it originally, but I sort of breezed by it. I was more interested in things Master was telling us, but it's just such a lovely sidelight into his life and experience. So we'll sing another chant now, and I'll lead this on the harmonium. This being, in one way of looking at it, the dawn of the new year, let's sing the dawn chant. Night has flown, dawn has come, wake, my children, wake. Sitting in the asana of meditation, think ye of thy Guru's lotus feet. Think ye, not thinking, think ye of thy Guru's lotus feet. has flown, dawn has come. Wake, my children, wake. Wake, my children, wake. Sitting in the asana of meditation, sitting in the asana of meditation, thinking of thy Guru's lotus feet, thinking of thy Guru's lotus feet. Night has flown, dawn has come. Wake, my children, wake. Wake, my children, wake. Sitting in the asana of meditation, sitting in the asana of meditation, thinking of thy Guru's lotus feet, thinking of thy Guru's lotus feet. Night has flown, dawn has come. Wake, my children, wake. Wake, my children, wake. Sitting in the asana of meditation, sitting in the asana of meditation, thinking of thy Guru's lotus feet, thinking of thy Guru's lotus feet. Night has flown, dawn has come. Wake, my children, wake. Wake, my children, wake. Sitting in the asana of meditation, sitting in the asana of meditation, thinking of thy Guru's lotus feet, thinking of thy Guru's lotus feet. Night has flown, has come. Wake, my children, wake. Wake, my children, wake. Wake, my children, wake. Wake, my children, wake. Night has flown, has come. Wake, my children, wake. Wake, my children, wake. Sitting in the asana of meditation, sitting in the asana of meditation, thinking of thy Guru's lotus feet, thinking of thy Guru's lotus feet, thinking of thy Guru's lotus feet, thinking of thy Guru's lotus feet. Sing Light the Lamp of Thy Love. My house with thine ornaments light the lamp of thy love. My house with thine ornaments light the lamp of thy love. Thy transmuting lamp entrancing, thy transmuting lamp entrancing, wondrous are its rays. Change my darkness to thy light, Lord. Change my darkness to thy light, and my evil into good. Touch me but once and I will change. Touch me but once and I will change all my clay into thy gold. All the sense lamps that I did light, sooted into words, sitting at the door of my soul, sitting at the door of my soul. Light thy resurrecting light. My lamps that I did light, soaked it into words, sitting at the door of my soul, sitting at the door of my soul, like thy resurrecting light. My house with thine own hands light. My house with thine own hands light. My house with thine own hands light.
We'll have one last reading from Autobiography of a Yogi. Master says, one day I entered a motion picture house to view a newsreel of the European battlefields. World War I was still being waged in the West. The newsreel recorded the carnage with such realism that I left the theater with a troubled heart. Lord, I prayed, why dost thou permit such suffering? To my intense surprise, an instant answer came in the form of a vision of the actual European battlefields. The horror of this struggle, filled with the dead and dying, far surpassed in ferocity any representation of the newsreel. Look intently, a gentle voice spoke in my inner consciousness. You will see that these scenes now being enacted in France are nothing but a play of light and dark. They are the cosmic motion picture, as real and as unreal as the theater newsreel you have just seen, a play within a play. My heart was still not comforted. The divine voice went on, creation is light and shadow both, else no picture is possible. The good and evil of Maya, of delusion, must ever alternate in supremacy. If joy were ceaseless here in this world, would man ever seek another? Without suffering, he scarcely cares to recall that he has forsaken his eternal home. Pain is the prod to remembrance. The way of escape is through wisdom. The tragedy of death is unreal. Those who shudder at it are like an ignorant actor who dies of fright on the stage when nothing more is fired at him than a blank cartridge. My sons are the children of light. They will not sleep forever in delusion. Although I had read scriptural accounts of Maya, they had not given me the deep insight that came with the personal visions and their accompanying words of consolation. One's values are profoundly changed when he is finally convinced that creation is only a vast motion picture, and that not in it, but beyond it, lies his own reality.
So we'll have one more chant now. Dive into the sweetness and blessing of Masters coming into this world and into our lives to guide us to freedom. This is Thou art my life, Thou art my love, Thou art the sweetness which I do seek.
God bless you, dear ones. Jai Guru.